As Donald Trump is getting absolutely buried in his dark past, as emails reveal just how close Epstein was to his first administration, and apparently the administration was taking a trip to Epstein Island. That's what Epstein was telling people like Bill Gates and others. Now Donald Trump's like, we got to go to war. Time for some wag the dog action, and we're going to go to war with Iran right now to try to distract from the Epstein files. And two things are happening at the same time right now. There's a confluence of factors here. So you have Congress shutting down, MAGA Mike, Senator Thune saying that Congress will be in recess for 10 days, so Congress can't do the work and oversight that it's been doing such a great job at. And then you have Donald Trump posting videos and photos of aircraft carriers heading to Iran, another aircraft carrier group there. And what we're hearing is that the Trump regime is not just planning surgical strikes, but the plan would be a multi-month war in Iran, according to some of the latest reports right there. And this is obviously, I mean, like, we're not stupid. I mean, you're going to now recklessly and maliciously get Americans killed potentially and put Americans into war to cover up the Epstein files. I mean, just look what Donald Trump's been saying over the past, 24, 48 hours, about going to war. He was asked, well, he took a trip to Fort Bragg. I did a whole video on this Fort Bragg, North Carolina trip, which is just, utter insanity. But, while he was doing that and before and after, he was speaking with the press and they were like, do you want regime change in Iran? He's like, yeah, I want regime change. By the way, you promised the Iranian protesters like last month, almost 2 months ago at this point, that if the Ayatollah killed any protesters, you had their back right away. And you didn't even have the aircraft carrier groups then. Thousands, tens of thousands, potentially 20,000+ Iranians were killed based on what Trump did. If this was any other president, it would be described as one of the biggest betrayals ever, but that's what we're calling it here on the MeidasTouch Network. Here, Donald Trump talks about regime change in Iran as more of these emails and the Trump redactions of the Epstein files are being exposed. Let's play this clip.
They've already started.
Do you want regime change in Iran?
Well, it seems like that would be the best thing that could happen. For 47 years, they've been talking and talking and talking. In the meantime, we've lost a lot of lives while they talk, and legs blown off, arms blown off, faces blown off. It's been going on for a long time. So let's see what happens. In the meantime, we have tremendous power has arrived, and additional power, as you know, another carrier is going out.
And then he's asked, well, what can Iran do to avoid an attack? He's like, I don't know. Make a deal with me. Make a deal with me. Make a deal with you over what? Didn't you say that the nuclear arsenal was totally obliterated? But he's like, they can make a deal with me. Play this clip.
What can Iran do to avoid attack?
Give us the deal that they should have given us the first time. If they give us the right deal, we won't do that. But, historically, they haven't done that. I will say they want to talk, but so far they do a lot of talking and no action.
Okay, well, Donald, what's your plan then? Okay, normally when people go to war, even wars that the U.S. shouldn't get into, they at least give some sort of plan, like, who do you want to lead next? What's your vision? What if you do regime change? Who's the next regime? What do you want to tell the American people about this, Donald? And to me, this is one of the biggest tells that this is just a cover up for the Epstein files. He's like, there are peeps. There are people. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but there are people who can do it. Here, play this clip.
So we'll see it out. If we could get it settled for once and for all, that would be good.
Who would you want to take over? What? Who would you want to take over?
I don't want to talk about that.
Mr. President, have you spoken to Secretary Duffy since when?
And then the reporter asks him a good question and says, look, you said that you obliterated all the Iranian nuclear sites. So if it's all obliterated, why would you have to go back to war to obliterate it if it was already obliterated last June? That doesn't really make sense, Donald. Here, play this clip.
You said inside that the Iranian nuclear sites have been totally obliterated. What's left to go after?
Well, you could get whatever the dust is down there. That's really the least of the mission. If we do it, that would be the least of the mission. But we, probably grab whatever's whatever's left. It has been obliterated, as you know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because he's a freaking liar. And you want to know some of the other tells about what's going on here as well? You have people like Massey and Khanna who are responsible for getting these Epstein files out there, who are truly courageous, especially when it comes to the Epstein files stuff. They are fearing for their life right now. So just put all the factors together. MAGA Mike shuts down Congress. We're in a partial government shutdown mode right now. Yet again, deja vu. Donald Trump then says we're about to get into a war with Iran. I think any moment now that the strikes in Iran could be taking place. Trump starts sending photos of aircraft carrier groups, and you have Republican, not a MAGA anymore, Republican Thomas Massey writes, I'm not suicidal. I eat healthy food. The brakes on my car and truck are in good shape. I practice good trigger discipline and never point a gun at anyone, including myself. There are no deep pools of water on my farm, and I am a pretty good swimmer. That's where we're at. And then you get posts like this from Donald Trump. It just goes to show you he's going to try to block voting in the midterms. He goes, the Democrats refuse to vote for voter ID or citizenship. The reason is simple. They want to cheat in elections. Wah, 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 wah. Then Donald Trump goes, there will be voter ID for the midterm elections, whether approved by Congress or not. I so declare. Also, the people of our country are insisting on citizenship and no mail-in ballots, with exceptions for military, disability, illness, or travel. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Then he posts another one that's just as long. I mean, look at, I don't want to read this. It's so utterly deranged. Here was an article from the Bulwark that I like, and we've been talking about this at the MeidasTouch Network for some time. Trump promised 5,000 Doge dividend checks, 2,000 per household stimulus checks, savings from government health care spending, but none of them materialized because he is a fraud in everything he does. And instead, Donald Trump sends emails like this, as we posted. Trump also constantly sends scam emails like this one to his supporters, dangling promises of Doge or tariff rebate checks. But when you click on the link, it tells you to give money to Trump. If you want the Doge rebate check, you need to pay Trump. And then he doesn't give you the Doge dividend check. It is all one big fugazi. And again, you want to see more signs of him wagging the dog and trying to avoid, talking about the Epstein files. Yesterday, he was like, we're going after Greenland again. I'm negotiating to take over Greenland. Okay, every time he says that, it's like, we get it. You don't want us to talk about the Epstein files that you appear 38,000 times on the unredacted files, 1 million times in the redacted files. Here it is right here. Let's play it.
I think Greenland's going to want us, but we get along very well with Europe. We'll see how it all works out. We're negotiating right now for Greenland.
Love Governor Newsom making posts like this. Breaking, Kristi Noem blanket reveal, because as I'm sure you know now from the reporting of the Wall Street Journal, and we talked about this yesterday, people believe that Kristi Noem's having an affair with Corey Lewandowski. They don't really hide it, apparently. They're like, make out with each other in public, according to sources, allegedly. I'll make it very clear. Allegedly is what's out there, in my opinion, allegedly. And apparently it's part of what would go down when a Coast Guard pilot didn't give forgot to hand Kristi Noem her blanket. They fired the Coast Guard pilot, but then they realized they didn't have a pilot, so they had to rehire the pilot. I mean, it is so utterly bizarre. I'm going to do a whole other video on the Munich conference, but it's worth pointing out as well that Marco Rubio canceled his meetings with Ukraine that were supposed to take place. The big Ukrainian meetings with Europe, Rubio canceled. And then, as Carl Quintanilla writes, it's been that kind of week. Here are some of the headlines from this week. Americas with higher incomes are starting to fall behind on payments. Rising debt levels and more missed payments push financial stress gauge to its highest level ever. U.S. consumer delinquencies are at its highest since 2017. U.S. businesses and consumers are paying 90% of tariffs costs, according to the New York Fed, and middle-class Americans are struggling so much to afford rent that they are selling their plasma to make ends meet. And the donation of plasma industry that's where jobs are being created right now, because Americans can't afford anything, so they're giving their plasma away. So there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million, and thank you everybody for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.